what designations do you have? And is that important for a potential prospect, whether they're considered a customer or a client, to look into and consider valuable?
Yeah, each designation that I have, I came to the decision to get it, after a long thought process of how does it help my clients. So the Charter Life Underwriter, as you know, it's an insurance-based and business strategy-based designation, which that's a part of it that people leave out of it too. There's a lot of strategy that comes involved with the CLU designation. And to me, that helps because, again, the overwhelming majority of people who come into my shop, they don't have any insurance. They don't have any life insurance. They don't have any disability insurance. They may be financially responsible for a parent that doesn't have long-term care insurance. And the Charter Life Underwriter designation, in my opinion, is the one that goes to the deepest depths of insurance strategy. So that's very helpful for my clientele because it just provides that level of expertise where I'm not just saying you need life insurance. I have some experience in saying how much, here's how it should be structured. Here are some companies that I feel have a stronger product than others. That's why it's helpful. The Certified Financial Planner designation is one where it's giving me a methodology for how I plan. We're looking at everything. I may not be the expert in everything, but I have a working knowledge of how everything impacts a plan. So I have the ability to look at your homeowner's insurance declarations page and see a shortfall there. And maybe I don't offer homeowners insurance, but I can see the shortfall and I can refer you somewhere. In the same way, I can look at your tax return, and I may not be a tax professional, but I can look and see, hey, you have restricted stock and they're not accurately reflecting the cost basis of that stock on your tax return, and you're going to get double taxed. You need to tell your CPA about that. Those are the types of lessons that you earn in the CFP, broad-based knowledge of almost every area of financial planning. And then the Certified Student Loan Professional, that's because the origin of my client base came when I was introduced to the student services coordinator at Meharry Medical College, which is actually where my father went to medical school. And for a number of years, I did the financial literacy education for their graduating medical and dental students. And when you're dealing with,
hold on. Before you even go, I got to imagine that group of students has been paying dividends for giving that talk. I would imagine. Do you have a spreadsheet just for the commissions that you get from giving those talks?
I'll say it's been helpful. It's definitely been helpful.
Sorry to interrupt you.
So, but the thing is, Meharry is a private, historically Black medical school, and if you borrow for the entire 4 years, you are going to owe over $400,000 by the time you leave. So when I'm learning what makes these people sweat at night, what keeps them up, what they're worried about financially, I'm looking at 26 to 30-year-olds who are going into the world never having worked, but starting $400,000 behind because of student loans, which is why I got that designation to have a specialty in teaching them how to optimize that repayment over the course of time.
Oh yeah, that's very powerful, and I know I literally just heard within the last week that it's a possibility of student loans being included if someone had to go for bankruptcy. But as far as I've known, for years, decades, student loans were one of the few things that even bankruptcy won't help you get rid of. How do you help people? Because it's one thing to navigate massive debt and knowing that you potentially have an escape valve, but being that student loans fall into a particular category to where you got to deal with it. How do you help people grow wealth while paying off student loans?
So I tell people that learning how to repay student loans is like learning another language. Matter of fact, it's actually like learning the English language, because if you talk to people who are multilingual, they'll tell you that English is a hard language to learn because many of the rules, they don't make sense or they don't apply all the time, right? So there, and there. Like you talk to somebody that speaks another language, you're like, what in the world is going on with there, and there? Like that type of stuff. Mm-hmm. Student loans are the same way. There's language and there's terminology that doesn't make sense in any other context except student loans. For example, if anywhere else in your financial life, I told you that you were going to consolidate debts, you would think I have to have more than one debt in order to consolidate, right? You have to have multiple things to consolidate. With federal student loans, you can have one loan and consolidate that loan. That's just one example of something that only makes sense in the context of federal student loans. In other areas of your life, if you owe $200,000 and you sign up for a 20-year payment plan, at the end of that 20 years, you're going to have repaid all of that student loan debt. With federal student loans, you can sign up for payment plans where instead of basing the payment on what you owe, they base it on what you make. And there's all these rules that determine what number your student loan servicer uses to constitute what you actually make. So we teach them the differences of those plans. We teach them how to lower what it looks like they made on paper so that their student loan payment is lower. And we teach them how to get their student loans forgiven when it's appropriate. And there are many different ways to have your student loans forgiven. And conceptually, if you're going to have your student loans forgiven, you probably want to do it after having made the least amount of payments as possible. So we help them in those scenarios figure out, how do I make the least amount of payments possible? And if somebody has to repay it in full, then we figure out how do we do it at the lowest interest rate and most favorable repayment terms possible.
Oh yeah, man. That's one of those counterintuitive things in life. The older I get, the different opportunities that I become around, the different people that I meet, the more successful that I get, along with the more successful people that I hang around with, the more you realize the counterintuitiveness of life. One of those counterintuitive things is the more money you make, the least you want it to appear on paper. Whereas the least money you make, the more people want it to appear on paper. Like it's crazy how it works to where the more money you make, the more you want it to seem like you make. And the less money you make, the more you want it to seem like you make. It's one of those things to where it seems like it should be the opposite.